A Blue Nile engagement ring for $2,600. Is it good value? Let's jump under the microscope and have a look. This is a natural 1 carat JSI1 stone. There is an eye visible inclusion on the table. When you're buying any engagement ring from anybody, usually you will get a grading. A GIA grading is obviously preferable. I actually don't mind the inclusion. It is barely noticeable. I'm gonna use a piece of pink card because the stone is a little bigger. I'm putting that over the stone to see how much pink light reflects back out of the stone. That's gonna give me a gauge of how much daylight or sunshine is gonna bounce out of the stone. This stone to me looks excellent. I really like the stone. The girdle is not particularly thick. The prongs look acceptable. I think they are beautifully polished. The coverage from the prong up the crown is about 50%. One prong is out of place. It is pushed a little further north than all the other prongs. I still consider this acceptable. It would be nicer if it was a little further down, but it is pretty close and it is not so distracting that I would consider this a rejection, at least for the $2,600 price point. The stone looks very secure. A lot of the prong has been cut into, but I still think there is enough material to make this a secure setting for sure. Aesthetically, it's a little bit in between square and round, which I don't love, but that is subjective. The pave on the side is very consistent. The channel down the middle is polished. The split prongs are not polished. That would be my only complaint. It is fairly consistent. I would say it is above acceptable. All of the prong setting details, the spacing between the stones, the shape and consistency of the prongs, the polish of the setting, I would say is above acceptable. The construction of the ring is excellent. The solder joint is beautiful. It is very minimal and it is exactly where you want it to be, and there is flown solder all the way around the head. I don't expect that to come loose. I am really happy with how that is joined. It is not a very elegant jewelry connection. It is a setting head sitting on the shank. That is their designer choice. They are really going for doing the simple things extremely well, and they are doing exactly that. Blue Nile is not a luxury brand, but judging objectively on just the craftsmanship alone and delivering on what was advertised online and what I'm holding in my hands, I would say this is above acceptable. There were two exceptions that I didn't love. If those were corrected, I would say this is excellent. That was the height of the prongs. They actually sit above the table of the diamond, and one prong was pushed a little north. It did look a little crooked to me. I look at tiny things all day, every day. I don't consider the amount of movement as rejectable. I would say as a whole, this piece is above acceptable. You can see the design clearly on their website. As far as a direct-to-consumer $2,600 ring goes, you are getting exactly that. And no part of this ring makes me feel like there is any deception. This is an excellent piece of jewelry, and I think a job well done.